Hey, it's Don Hobbs over here at the Small Business Festival in Austin. Of course, we're really excited because we're getting just endless talent, all these business owners, and everybody's just so giving and so smart with what they've learned. And so, I've had the pleasure of interviewing some great ones, but I'm really excited about meeting Dean Siracusa. And Dean's got Flying Eyes optics, and I was fascinated by the story because I've got people that I know that I already sent video to a guy to say, hey, I got the coolest product. But tell us what Flying Eyes is, Dean.
Yep. So I patented eyewear that is comfortable under a headset or helmet. I'm a pilot. I fly airplanes, and when I wear glasses, whether sunglasses or ophthalmic frames, the temples they are stiff and they create noise leaks under your headset, and it hurts after a while. And I was tired of that, so I actually invented glasses that are very, very comfortable under a headset or helmet.
I love the way companies are formed. I got a problem, nobody solved it. I think I'll solve it.
Yeah.
It's like that's so cool.
Yep.
That's great. You started when?
2013.
Awesome. So tell us what's been happening, because in fact the reason that we met you is because you're part of Orange Co-working. Of
Yes.
course, Shelley Delane's a good friend of mine, and
Yes.
and I love the space over there. So let's talk about that actually, because
Sure.
you were part of that co-working panel, right?
Yes.
What's been your experience with the co-working experience? Because that in itself is an interesting part of business today.
It's integral especially for startups. You can start up a business in your house, or you're in a coffee shop or whatever, but you won't get the je ne sais quoi of a co-working space where it's a community of fellow entrepreneurs and people that are either startups or have their own small business, or solopreneurs, or even people that work from remotely for other big businesses. But it is a place where people get things done, and sometimes actually collaborate, or at the very least, you're able to talk to other people that you can just bounce ideas off of, because they're also entrepreneurs. They understand how weird entrepreneurs are sometimes, and how adventurous we are sometimes about ideas that we have.
Well, what's funny about that is that I was thinking about that environment, because I've worked out of my own house. I mean,
Yeah.
I've done it several times in my life,
Yeah.
and I've told people in seminars, on your best day, nobody's there to tell, and on your
right.
worst day, nobody understands, and there's nobody to run it by.
That's right.
And in a co-working space, you've actually got that kind of support. Now, go one step further. Where'd you find talk about how you found your design team, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah,
sorts.
yeah, absolutely. So, I found all kinds of people at Orange Co-working is the name of the space that I work out of, and we started the company Flying Eyes with one frame style, and one frame style works great for a lot of people, but it's not great for everybody. And so I was like, okay, it's 2015, we need to create a bunch of more frame styles. And I was telling the owner of the space, Orange, my dilemma of finding an eyewear designer, and it was difficult. It's hard to find that kind of specialty. And I was telling the owner of Orange, and she said, well, there's a designer that just joined here last week. Why don't you go introduce yourself? And I did, and it turns out actually he's a 3D designer and actually has experience in the eyewear industry at designing eyewear. And it was just amazing how that worked out.
Purely an accident, but it happens a lot in the co-working spaces. That's one of the points.
Yeah, exactly. It happens more often. Those synchronicities happen so often that it's kind of strange sometimes that how often it happens. But at the very least, even if you're not looking for somebody to hire, or a person to employ, or that kind of thing, oftentimes it's just peers to bounce ideas off of.
Right.
That's hugely helpful, because as an entrepreneur, if you're talking about some far-fetched idea that doesn't actually exist yet, if you're not talking to another entrepreneur or somebody who's been there, they will often think you're kind of nuts and I don't think you should do this. Well, another entrepreneur is going to be like, I may or may not get that, but that sounds like a cool idea, go for it. And if I have any knowledge or experience in my background in previous things that I've done, I can impart that information. It's usually very helpful.
Yeah, mom and dad and people in your family are saying, get a job, right? And,
Yes.
And the people there at co-working are saying, hey, in fact, what I found
Yeah.
interesting is how many people do we know in the entrepreneurial world that happy to work 80 hours a week for them
Yes.
to do anything, so I don't have to work 40 hours for somebody else, right?
That's right.
So your company's grown, and what's cool about it is because you're virtual. I want to talk just a little bit about that. How have you done that? Where are your resources? And kind of outline just quickly, because again, if I'm starting a business at a co-working space or even out of my house, how do I find the people and not have to employ? And because that's the hardest thing, right?
Yes.
Knowing how and then having the money for it. So
Yeah, sure.
What
So
do you do?
we started. I bootstrapped this company myself. Up until 2015, it was all me as far as investors go. I got our first investors, plural, in 2015, and it's it was a lean startup. It was just basically me and spending as little money as possible, because my investor was yelling down my throat, "Oh, that's me," But you can't do it all by yourself. It's impossible. I'm not that smart to be able to be the graphic designer, to be able to be the bookkeeper and the CPA and the eyewear designer, and I can go down the list. But having resources available in a co-working space helped solve that problem, where I can hire people on a freelance basis for a project or little projects. Or ongoing if they're a bookkeeper or CPA. I can do that without spending a great deal of money in payroll.
Right.
And
getting services only on an as-needed basis.
Yes.
So you've got a company that includes how many in the whole team? Have you figured it out?
Well, as far as all the freelancers go, gosh, we have 15 people.
Right. And how many exactly are employed by you?
Hi.
That's it.
Yeah,
Exactly right.
Yeah, we've got tech support, we've got customer support. Like I said, we got CPA, bookkeeper, creative designer, graphic designer, copywriter, marketer, marketing professionals, social media marketing, as well as our fulfillment.
So you've outsourced everything.
Yes.
That's powerful.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm thinking in terms of the viewers, and many can relate to your where you are. Many are in co-working spaces, or again working in another house.
Yeah, exactly.
And it hasn't always been up. There's these days, right?
Yeah,
or these
exactly.
weeks or these months.
Sure.
Let's give the viewers some like tidbits. What would you say? One or two things that have really been big in your world for being on your worst day that you've mindset that you've changed. Or even on your best day, like smart things you've done. Let's talk about a couple things here that might.
Sure. I mean, as far as the best days have been when we make some marketing decisions that actually go really well. We get a lot of visibility in the press that creates a lot of sales, and that's everything. We're in business to sell our product, and I will say, really quickly, on the flip side, there's been struggles, and every entrepreneur goes through them. In fact, I remember a cartoon that shows the life of an entrepreneur, and it's best days, worst days. Oh my God, I'm going to fail. Oh my gosh, great bankruptcy. Everything's going to be horrible. And then the next day is awesome, and the next day is horrible. And that's the life of an entrepreneur. You have to deal with all of the good and bad, and it's part of it. But I'll tell you, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Our crew's nodding their heads going, yeah, we get it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's true.
That's perfect. Okay, so we're hearing about these magic glasses, flying eyes. Put them on. Let's see what they're. Let's see what makes them so awesome, because this is what I sent to my friends, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So we have a bunch of different frame styles. This is just one of them that I wear. The secret to them is the temples are a millimeter thin. They're very, very thin. The material that we use, nobody else is using in this way. It's an aerospace material that is both very it's very, very flexible, and you can't break it. It won't deform. It's a very expensive polymer that we use, but it won't break. But what happens is you put these on, and you put a helmet or a headset on, and you don't feel them. You don't feel them at all. Especially because also they wrap around your head. The temples don't actually rest on your ears like most glasses do. These actually just wrap around your head and they just stay there, and that's what makes them comfortable.
Okay, do you want to use it for the rest of the interview, or can we pull them off now? You look cool. I mean, you definitely look cool.
Well, no. So the nice thing is they're so light you often forget you're wearing them. It happens. We get emails from customers saying that sort of not complaining, but complaining with a smile on their face that they were wondering why it was getting dark so early when they're flying somewhere, and they went, oh wait, no, I'm wearing my glasses still. Right. Oh, I forgot.
That's cool. Great job. That's perfect, Dean. Well, you're an awesome inspiration. It's pretty cool. I love the story, and my friend John will be calling you, I'm sure, to get a pair of your glasses from Flying Eyes.
Wonderful.
And of course, we're here at the Small Business Festival, and I think, what I hear, and I've heard consistently, I loved your messages. First of all, we can do it alone. I mean, we can't do it alone, but we can start it alone, and we can build as big as we want to. We don't have to go crazy on hiring. What we have to do is figure out what we need, because we know we can't do it all.
Right.
And fortunately, through co-working spaces and in our virtual world today, I mean, there's so many of you. Everybody's combining, collaborating, and we're forming virtual companies. And I'm really inspired by what I'm seeing here at the festival. So
yeah, me too.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
And from the Small Business Festival, we're saying goodbye.